Hello everyone, welcome to YK Reviews, welcome to the spoiler review for Dune Part 2. Plenty to talk about, so let's get into it here. So if you are new to the channel, we do all types of videos when it comes to movie reviews, series reviews, we do tier ranking videos along with weekly entertainment news videos. So if you are new to the channel, you do like that type of stuff, do consider hitting that subscribe button, smashing that like button, hitting that notification bell so that you don't miss out on these videos. Appreciate all that support and appreciate you clicking on this video. I did post my non-spoiler review for the Dune movie, so if you haven't seen the movie, you can check out that video to see my non-spoiler thoughts on this. But again, this is going to be a spoiler review here, so that's your warning. If you've seen the movie, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What your thoughts are about the movie. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the comment section down below, because in my non-spoiler review I did mention that I really enjoyed this movie. I love the experience, I love the emotion that you get with this movie. On a technical standpoint, it's a great movie. It comes across so well. And again, this is going to be all spoilers here, because with the movie, as it kicks off with, like I mentioned, Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. You get to see Rebecca Ferguson's character as well, and we also find out that Rebecca Ferguson's character is having a child, is having a daughter with the baby in the belly. And then throughout the whole movie as well, she's actually talking to her daughter, the daughter's talking to her. So you get that throughout the whole movie of the daughter, and even like the daughter does appear in like a dream sequence with Timothée Chalamet. So that for me, I did find it pretty interesting, especially with Rebecca Ferguson's character here. So first off, in terms of the opening sequence, what I really enjoyed is the way that the Fremen just attack these villains, attack these gods, and just how they're using the sandworm. They do take advantage of the sandworm throughout the whole movie. I just wish we got to actually see the full sandworm. Like, I know we got to see that in the shot towards the third act, which like I said, one of my favorite shots of the whole movie, but I really wish we got to see more of like the actual sandworm, like not just seeing like the sand covering the sandworm or like the hole that looks very suspicious in the front of the sandworm. But overall, a great opening sequence there. And then as we're following the movie, like I mentioned, you're following Rebecca Ferguson's character. So her character and her journey arc, she goes from being Oscar Isaac's wife, the mother of Paul, to now being the Reverend Mother. And so she's drinking this blue water and is basically now the Reverend Mother for the whole Fremen, which, as I mentioned, I enjoyed that because, like I said, she wasn't featured a lot in the movie, but when she is featured, it's like a prominent, fascinating sequence there. And like, while I enjoyed that portion of the movie and while I enjoyed that character, I thought the twist was very strange, because we come to find out that she is actually the daughter of the Baron, so like Stellan Skarsgård's character, who was in the movie, who's in this movie. She's actually the daughter of him. And so I just thought that was completely came out of nowhere. And once it's revealed, nothing was really explored, or it just felt like a throwaway line kind of thing there, because we didn't really get to explore that side of things much. We got to see Timothée Chalamet kill Stellan Skarsgård's the Baron's character, which I'll also be talking about, but it wasn't really prominent, or wasn't really an effective type of reveal. But I did enjoy Rebecca Ferguson's character. It'll be interesting to see what she's going to do in part 3 because of what Timothée Chalamet's journey is, because obviously with him being like this prophet, the Messiah kind of person for the Fremen, his character journey was so fantastic. I really enjoyed his performance, and like I mentioned in my non-spoiler review, his performance is probably my favorite performance of any of his movies, with how he goes from wanting to learn from the Fremen, wanting to just understand their culture, and to them being like the person that's going to threaten to burn all the Dune spices with like the other families that are threatening to like not listen to him, taking Florence Pugh's, forcing her to be the hand in marriage in front of Zendaya. Like, he goes on some turn, like some Tobey Maguire Venom type of turn with his character journey, and I was all for it. I loved his character arc and his journey. And like I mentioned, like, you've got Zendaya's character, so she's into Timothée Chalamet's character, Paul's character, so you've got Paul and Chani, and like I said, the romance isn't explored in terms of like a heavy aspect of it. It's sprinkled and it's done really subtly. But then afterwards, like I mentioned, when Timothée Chalamet sort of turning, becoming the Messiah, getting like this overhype inside his head, you get to see that turn, which Zendaya's character is seeing, and she's kind of like put off by it, pulled back a little bit by it, and then in front of her, he's forcing Florence Pugh to marry him in front of Zendaya. So that was a crazy storyline and one I really enjoyed following. And then especially towards like the ending of the movie, you do get Zendaya's character. She walks away from the Fremen, she walks away from Timothée Chalamet. So I'm really invested in terms of her character arc and what storyline she's going to go for in part 3 of the movie, because we kind of understand and kind of hint that there's going to be a holy war type of event with part 3. Because with this movie, like I mentioned, the focus and the majority of the movie is spent with Timothée Chalamet learning about the Fremen, focusing on this prophecy, going from him not wanting to visit the South because of the visions he's having to then eventually visiting the South. So the core focus of this movie is spent on Timothée Chalamet and his journey arc. So a lot of other things are not really focused on, and a lot of the scenes don't get to be explored that much. Like, for example, Batista's character, as I mentioned in my non-spoiler review, he's like a prominent figure and like a villain that is dangerous and is one that you get that fear factor from. However, in this movie, he kind of felt like a joke in the movie. Like, he kept getting overrun. His respect kind of just flew out the window, especially with Stellan Skarsgård's character. Like, he was just kind of put on the back burner. And then towards the third act, once he's fighting Josh Brolin's character, who eventually does return in the movie, and I thought his return was handled so well, and he was a great character in the movie. Once he gets returned, so you kind of got like this Drax versus Thanos, Dave Batista versus Josh Brolin. That fight sequence felt very rushed. Like, his death was so quick, and I just felt like his character and the way he was written felt very flat compared to the first movie. Similar to Stellan Skarsgård's character, like the Baron, you get to see him as this prominent figure, this dangerous figure in the first movie. With this movie, he's kind of just put on the back burner. All his plans getting overthrown, he's getting outdone by the Fremen, and then eventually once he's meeting up with the Emperor, he just kind of gets killed off by Timothée Chalamet's character. So him and Dave Batista, like the villains from the first movie, kind of just felt like throwaway characters in this movie, and I kind of wish we got to explore a little bit more of them and get to see that fear factor, because the villains in the movie I felt like weren't as strong or prominent. As I mentioned in the non-spoiler review of the movie, with the third act, with the Fremen taking over, with like getting the Emperor to come, getting the Baron to come, meeting them up in terms of their ship and just being able to overtake them so quickly, I felt it was very strange and very odd. Like, I was expecting a big battle, some kind of call to action where you get the villains taking on Timothée Chalamet and the Fremen and just having like a great epic fight sequence, but it just felt like they were able to take over the ship, they were able to get everybody prisoner, and eventually you get that great sequence with Austin Butler's character, like that sword fight combination and that battle, which again, a standout scene. And like I mentioned, Austin Butler deserved more scene in this movie because he was a fantastic character and fantastic performances. But then after he gets killed off, they kind of bow down to Timothée Chalamet's character, but I kind of wanted that to be explored more. Like, that third act and that battle felt like it was in like the last 10 minutes of the movie, with the rest of the 2.5 hour movie focusing in on the prophecy and Timothée Chalamet's journey and character arc. So I just wish we got to explore that a little bit more, and hopefully we do get to see more battle sequences with the movie when it comes to the third movie, because of the holy wars that we're getting. But in this movie, when it comes to like the action sequences, I forgot to mention it in my non-spoiler review, but you get some great sequences in there when you got the Fremen taking on the Baron's people and taking out their ships. You got that great action set piece of Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet and how they're able to work together, how they're able to get past that helicopter when Zendaya, there's this excellent shot of the camera moving as soon as like the helicopter's moving, and then you get this shot of Zendaya's face holding this bazooka or whatever, like the weapon that she has, to just blow up the helicopter. I thought was so fantastic. But there is a lot to be desired with when it comes to the movie. Like I said, the movie clocks in at around 2 hours 45 minutes, but there was a lot to be enjoyed with it. The movie looks absolutely fantastic in terms of the cinematography point of view. In terms of the storytelling, again, was told really well. If you're not a fan of just like a slow build-up type of movie, I don't think you'll enjoy this one quite as much, because again, like the focus is being on Timothée Chalamet's character and his journey, and again sprinkled with Rebecca Ferguson's character. But if you're interested in the lore, if you're invested in the characters, if you're invested in the backstory of Dune, like reading the books, learning about the movie and all that kind of stuff, then I think you'll have a great time with the movie and what they're building up with when it comes to the Holy Wars or what they're going to do in part 3. I think this is going to be one to keep an eye out on. So again, this is like a spoiler review, so if you've seen the movie, you're watching this video, there is a lot of enjoyment to have with this movie. And so I think that for me, My only issue, my biggest gripes, all the new characters were in the movie, but I felt like they weren't explored as much. Some scenes were missing from what their sequences was. But overall, a great, fantastic movie. One that I really, really enjoyed. One that I highly recommend watching in IMAX, because that experience, like I said, was something else. But again, I want to know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. I want to know if you've enjoyed it. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And again, if you are new to the channel, do consider hitting that subscribe button as we try to reach 400 subscribers. Appreciate all of that support and appreciate you clicking on this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This is Mike here Reviews. Peace.